Oh, here we are again now, and it's like no time has passed. Gazing out upon the sunset as it sinks into the night. Many times it seemed as though a given day might be our last. Face to face with certain death, it's somehow coming out alright. I don't think that we have any cause to lament, but there's quite a lot of thrilling intent, thrilling intent, thrilling intent, thrilling intent.
We were summoned to be nothing but good in the world, and I believe our progeny were cursed with something similar. The oath you bear. A chime travels through your body again. You feel it, a promise you made to yourself and the world. So long as you contain the soul of an angel within yourself, you have to do good, or else you'll be returned to the place from whence you came. Your body'll burn. It'll be like you swallowed hot coals. It'll hurt a lot. There are a lot of people here who died that way.
Mercy thinks about that for a moment and kind of looks at her hands. I actually don't know what heat feels like. I know what warmth is. I felt it when I met Varia.
Like, calmly appraises you at that. You're not afraid of the fire, then?
No. But I am afraid of what that fire could do to them.
There's almost a resolute silence in the area around. Well, I think we're lucky. Yeah, we're certainly lucky. All of it wasn't for nothing if we put people like you in the world. Yep, we did good. Feeling the heavens congratulate themselves around you based on your conviction is a strange feeling.
I appreciate the kind words and congratulations I've received for your wondrous job in giving me as a gift to the world. And I must agree, I've done a little refining myself, she gestures to herself. But I am still concerned. This might be a very presumptuous thing to say. What exactly was your mission, the parts that you remember most specifically?
This entire body rings out, and the more you get attuned to it, the more you hear the voice behind the voice. Right now, you're hearing a human voice that wants to speak to your ASMR ears, because that is how you communicate, but you feel like something else is speaking to that soul inside of you, and it sounds a lot like a bell. Every single thing that this person says, though there are people words that are impacting you, it feels like a deeper voice is resonating within your soul. It is very different than the tower's voice. That one is deep and resonant. This one feels more like wind chimes. It bounces playfully off of your soul, almost has this capricious, somewhat inattentive air. It's different, but you're starting to feel it more. The true way that this place is speaking to you. As you address the concept of a mission, this chime speaks to you again and it goes, I don't understand? But then the deeper voice speaks to you. It wants clarification on something. Are you talking about why humanity summoned it? Or what its own personal goals and interests in the material world were?
I suppose both, really.
You say that with your voice, and though what was spoken aloud makes no sense, one line to the other, the deeper and resonant voice actually does communicate. For the next section, Will, I would like us to communicate through narration as from the third person perspective, Mercy and this place are going to be speaking utter nonsense to the outside observer. This is what it means to be a creature of chaos.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, no, I wanna properly emulate the experience of talking to a maddened, refracted thing. You can speak to it, but like as you move through this dialogue, you'll functionally be saying shit that's like it'll say like, oh, what did you intend by that? And it's like, well, it had to do with my heart. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? So basically, to communicate in narration, you ask why this thing was summoned by people. First of all, it was summoned by people specifically because they were terrified of the threats of demonkind. Mankind wanted to summon some other power that would tip the scales back in their favor. Demons, in particular, contain a very specific power that erodes away at the world. It's the power of order. It makes things so unmagical that other problems start to seep in. And at a time in the past, and in Tannhauser in particular, the demon population was so high that the people in Tannhauser suffered a great plague because there is no more mundane a death than a lack of medicine. In order to counteract that, the people of the time wanted to bring in creatures of good and chaos that would swing things back away from the utterly and depressingly real and back into the realm of fantasy, where there are magic cures for illnesses, etc. Your mind sort of expands as this creature exclaims to you how the world changed on their summoning. Alchemy began to boom in Tannhauser. Just rubbing different rocks together became magic because of their presence. Before that, none of it worked. Quite literally, you're starting to understand that these are beings of fantasy, and them planting even one footfall on the world makes the world more fantastic. That was the goal, it always has been. Similarly, the other half of the question, by asking what their own personal goal in the world was, you get a picture of it. Their goal here is simply to exist in all of its myriad forms. Their goal in the real world was, when they were divided up into individuals dependent on what cross-section of chaos they got. The third's goal was, in the infinite expression of creation, they were the artisan. They were the creator, they were the writer, they were the musician, they were also the blacksmith. They were the ones who made tools wondrous and inspiring. They're responsible for magic items, they're responsible for, like, all of the various songs that you might hear. They're Bard plus blacksmith. They make. They are the creator. Which, yeah, no, very fitting. You feel that resonance sort of like seep into you a little bit more, as their only goal on summoning was to travel around on this great ship, see the world, and do whatever they could to make things for people in it.
Mercy processes that, and she begins to sort of question, if you're the builder, there must be someone else whose responsibility is the destruction, to allow the even opportunity to build. And she thinks of back on Earth.
Almost as immediately and clearly as you might expect, you get a, oh, that's the captain. And you feel that resonance, like that is the first job, and you feel a sinking in the pit of your stomach as that happens. And when you feel bad in this place, it quite literally leaks from your body like a syrup or a sap, and you see it drip from the navel onto the ground and start to color the ground around you. And at that realization, the colors start to blur a little bit more, and you hear the voice call out to you, and it's like, oh, what's wrong?
I think I've sort of pieced some things together.
That's good, probably.
It is. But, as I mentioned before, it can be a bit of both. And there's nothing wrong with that.
The world seems to brighten around you at that mention. It's like, well, that's good. Oh. The eyes appraise you again. Oh, oh no, you're being taken somewhere else. I'm...
What?
You feel the panic of the flowers around you. The world grows brighter. It seems I wasn't able to send you back myself. Good luck out there. Do your best.
Wait, how do I make contact with you? You seem kind of nice, actually. Wait, are we related?
The line leads back into the world around, and there's a moment of silence as you're pulled a little bit away, and it's like, no matter what you do, to some extent, we'll always feel what you're experiencing. Your soul can speak to ours, though we don't have eyes to see or voices to speak. Just the same, your experiences are our own. You're drawn away as everything shifts into a blackness, and you hear that same voice chime out. Do us proud out there, my beloved progeny. You fade. It feels like your body's being pulled back into the real world. You start to feel the prickles and tingles on your skin, but you don't feel all of your essence ooze back inside of yourself. Feels like you're almost stopped halfway. You look out into a great expanse. If the last place was utterly colorful and wonderful, one thing bled into another, this is a place of utter solitude. The only thing that exists here is one man who stands across from you. Mercy, you immediately recognize the Prince of Tannhauser. He, sort of like looks down, looks at you, and then points to your chest. And, as your eyes follow his digit, you look at the line that's running from your abs out into the world at large. It almost feels like you were cast back into the ocean, but here's the upsetting part. This man's holding the end of it now. He pinches it between his fingers and almost starts to test its weight. And as he does, it seems to refract outwards. And one after the other, you notice that he isn't just holding the line that connects to your angelic soul. He's holding the line that connects to the soul of every single ASMR in Tannhauser. He pinches them between his fingers and looks at you and utters a single command. As the first king, I order you, defend the tower at all costs.
Oh, shit.
He grips the line, and you feel that order cut off. Whatever connected you to the heavens above is now being stymied and siphoned by this man. You know the cost of defiance of the oath. You know the price that you pay if you deny it. He takes a step back this way, still holding the tether, and disappears into the darkness.
So, finally met the Oathbreaker.
Oh, shit.
You comment that as Mercy. You come back too.
Oh, boy.
There is an eerie silence in Tannhauser as your eyes pinch open. Your body is covered in a cold sweat. What the fuck do you do?
Mercy, she's... I don't know how she'd even test this. She's going to think about her family.
Yeah.
And then think about the tower and see which one means more to her.
How do I put this? When you focus on your oath, the one that you made, decided for yourself, and the one that was approved in the heavens above, you feel it still stands to some extent, but that order has been replaced with a burning one that you cannot deny. You felt it before, the price of failure. The one that the third tried to communicate to you. It's like swallowing hot coals. Just the same, you You said you weren't afraid of the flame.
Mercy said that in the moment, but
Right now.
it's a thing of, once again, she had stated, I'm not afraid of the flame burning me.
Yeah.
It's my family. And right now, her husband has developed the technique to destroy the tower.
Yeah. Your mind is ablaze with possibilities. Here's the thing. There's no compulsion element to this. It's not like you're being mind controlled or emotionally controlled in any way. You have simply been given an order and a penalty if you fail to complete it. It's honestly kind of worse in a lot of ways because you're in full control of all of your faculties. They're still there.
Yeah, Mercy sits there for a long while thinking. And she's going to test another thing. She runs over to one of these metal ingots.
Yeah.
And she actually removes her glove.
Ooh.
And you see it's liquid metal, but it's still somewhat formed.
Yeah.
And she does a thing that she hates. She reforms it to be sharpened like a blade. It's still superheated, but she uses it to write down on the ingot warnings of just
Ooh.
and to see if she's even allowed to, or if she would start to feel a pain in her heart. It's a similar thing as if she even remembers one time when the girls were playing a little too rough and Melody had horribly injured her leg, and Mercy felt weak afterwards.
Yeah.
She felt physically ill because she failed to protect them. Even though it was an accident and no one had directly harmed them, she failed.
Here is the problem. Here is the problem as you write. You start to realize the rules of how this works. No one's watching over you. No one's keeping an eye on you. The question is, do you feel like this goes against the order that you were just given?
Oh.
The second that hits you, you feel a lance of pain through your body.